if you're told to have it? What's wrong with drinking hard if it's everyone's habit? So make sure you dissipate, the new plans can be made. Hey, what's wrong with yes, yes, yes? Puff harder, yell louder, but what are we yelling for? Run faster, reach farther, but what are we reaching for? Shadows of the past, though they'll never last.
In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. Whenever you feel like criticizing anyone, he told me, just remember that all the people in this world haven't had the advantages that you've had. It was with this principle that I entered my manhood, setting off to college, and it is with this principle that I arrived in West Egg, Long Island, to begin a career in bonds. Now that name, West Egg, it's not any sort of clever wordplay. It's simply the Wester Egg as opposed to the more fashionable East Egg across the bay. Compared to the mansions around me, my house was an eyesore. But it was a small eyesore, and easily overlooked. This was amplified as it stood next to the ostentatious home of one J. Gatsby. Gatsby. He represented everything for which I have an unaffected scorn. If personality is an unbroken series of successful gestures, then there was something gorgeous about him. Some heightened sensitivity to the promises of life, an extraordinary gift for hope, a romantic readiness such as I have never found in any other person, and which it is not likely I shall ever find again. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The history of the summer really begins on the evening when I went to East End to have dinner with my cousin, Daisy Buchanan, and her husband, Tom. I've known him in college, and in all our time together, he'd made one thing very apparent. He was rich, as was his father, and his father's father, and so on. Old money, you know? He was one of my first exposures to the elite group of people who bestowed that title onto themselves. After meeting him, I can't say I'm awfully fond of the bunch.
Nick, I'm paralyzed with happiness. How is Chicago? Do they miss me?
The whole town is desolate. All the cars have the left rear wheel painted black as a mourning wreath. And there's a persistent wail all night.
Gorgeous. Let's go back, Tom, tomorrow. You ought to see the baby. She's asleep. She's 2 years old. Haven't you seen her?
Never.
You ought to see her. She's...
What are you doing, Nick?
I'm a bondman.
Who with?
You probably never heard of them, but you will if you stay in the East.
Oh, I'll stay in the East, don't you worry. I'd be a goddamn fool to live anywhere else.
I'm stiff. I've been lying on that sofa for as long as I can remember.
Don't look at me. I've been trying to get you to New York all afternoon. Would you like a drink?
No, thank you. I'm in training.
How you ever get anything done is beyond me.
Daisy, darling, who's this?
Oh, I've been so rude. Jordan, this is my cousin Nick. Caraway? Nick, this is my friend, Miss Jordan Baker.
The golfer?
My reputation precedes me. You live in West Egg, right?
Yes.
I know somebody there.
I don't know us.
You must know Gatsby.
Gatsby? What Gatsby?
Now, where's our damn dinner?
Why'd they light candles? Look, my finger's burnt. You did it, Tom. I know you didn't mean to, but you did do it. That's what I get for marrying the brute of a man, a great big hunking physical specimen of a...
I hate that word, hulking, even in kidding.
Hulking.
You make me feel uncivilized, Daisy. Can't you talk about crops or something?
Oh, civilization's going to pieces. Have you read The Rise of the Colored Empires by this man, Goddard?
No.
Well, it's a fine book. and everybody ought to read it. The idea is, if we don't look out, the white race will be utterly submerged. It's all scientific stuff.
Tom's getting very profound. He reads deep books with long words in them.
Here we are, brink of war, and yet still no one really cares. Here you are, you laugh and you chuckle. Soon you'll say a prayer that you had took your shot before it all went to rot.
You ought to live in California.
Jordan!
What? I'm right.
Tom? Tom? Excuse me.
This Mr. Gatsby you spoke of is my neighbor.
Don't talk. I want to hear what happens.
Is something happening?
You mean to say you don't know? I thought everybody knew. Tom's got some woman in New York.
A woman?
Yes, of course. She might have the decency not to telephone him at dinner time, don't you think? Oh, look at the time. I ought to get to bed.
Jordan's going to play in the tournament tomorrow over at Westchester.
Wake me at 8, won't you?
If you'll get up.
I'll try. Good night, Mr. Carraway. See you anon.
Of course you will. In fact, I think I'll arrange a marriage. I'll sort of fling you together, you know, push you out to sea in a boat, all that sort of thing.
Good night.
She's a nice girl, isn't she?
Yeah, she is.
We don't know each other very well, even if we are cousins. You didn't come to my wedding.
I wasn't back from the war.
Did I ever tell you about the day she was born? Well, she was less than an hour old and Tom was God knows where. I woke up out of the ether with an utterly abandoned feeling, and I asked the nurse right away if it was a boy or a girl. She told me it was a girl, and so I turned my head away and wept. "All right," I said. "I'm glad it's a girl, and I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world. A beautiful little fool." If I could be anything, I'd be a pretty little fool. Just put me on display, I'll be your pretty little jewel. Please give me a rule to follow, or all my plans for tomorrow, and I'll obey. I'm so sick of decisions and all the precision that comes with having a brain. I could sail the world. I could drink a whole damn ocean of wine. I could kiss a girl. Everything I wanted would be mine. And if I didn't have to take all the blame, when I know it will all go up in flame, now that could be a world that I could rule. If I were just a pretty little fool, I could go insane. I could run away on the goddamn wind. I could win the game. Say goodbye to that tiny violin. If I could be something more than Tom's wife, then I'd never work a day in my life. Oh no, I don't intend to be a mule. I'd rather be, if I could be anything, I'd be a pretty little fool. Just put me on display, I'll be a pretty little jewel. Please give me a rule to follow, or all my plans for tomorrow, and I'll obey. I'm so sick of decisions and all the precision that comes with having a brain. I live in such an opulent sadness. I cry superb tears. I'll descend into glorious madness. Give me 5 more years. If I could be anything, I'd be a pretty little fool. Just put me on display. I'll be a pretty little jewel. Please give me a rule to follow, or all my plans for tomorrow, and I'll obey. I'm so sick of decisions and all the precision that comes with having a brain.
Daisy?
Hmm?
Are you alright?
Huh? Oh, yes. Why wouldn't I be?